Hello everybody. Today we'll talk about the Chinese bamboo tree. A Chinese bamboo tree grows really tall, to a height of over 80 feet. It takes around 5 years and 3 months to grow to its full height. But there is the interesting bit. For the first 5 years, after you plant the seed, you see nothing, absolutely nothing, except perhaps a little shoot springing out of the bulb and struggling to make a squiggle. And then in the next 90 days, it shoots up to a towering 80 feet. Can you believe it? For the first 5 years, all the growth is invisible below the surface. The Chinese bamboo roots create a complex network like a miniature version of a network underground. It's these strong roots that, when fully developed, help support a tree that will soar above all else. And in the next 90 days, yes, merely 90 days, it literally takes off and becomes as tall as an 8-storied building. What we learn from this is that any big success requires your efforts for a long time. The bigger the success, the longer it takes to build the foundation for that success. This is also known as persistence. Newt Gingrich says about persistence, the hard work you do after you get tired of doing the hard work you already did is persistence. So if you say that you have done everything and are tired now, then per our definition, something more you do now is persistence. Similar to when we say go extra mile in whatever you do, that extra mile is persistence. Oliver Wendell Holmes once said, we must sail sometimes with the wind and sometimes against it, but we must sail. So keep moving towards your goals, take daily constant action. The primary reason for success is persistence, and likewise, the primary reason for failure is lack of persistence, quitting too soon. Passionate goal setters know to swim like sharks. If sharks try to float, they will sink. So keep swimming towards your goals or you will sink like sharks. Persistence is self-discipline in action. Your ability to persist in the face of all setbacks and temporary failures is essential to success in life. The quality of persistence is to the character of man what carbon is to steel. The quality of persistence alone is your insurance against failure. Before you start doing anything new, say, I never quit, and when you fail, remind yourself that this is testing time. The reason how badly you want something gives you strength to persevere. When all others give up and settle, you go on because you feel like there is no other option for you. Just visualize this. Whenever you want to give up anything, imagine about those people who would shamelessly persist and actually get it. That's how life works. Persistence always wins. The persistent people are so determined that if you close the door to them, they will come through the window. That's the mindset. Everything happens in its own time. You could just work and wait for things to happen. That's why it is said, man proposes, God disposes. You don't know what is going to happen the next day, but only this hope that it will happen will keep you determined on the track. The law of persistence says, if you keep trying, you will succeed. Ability to persist is what makes people succeed. Success never comes after the first attempt. Whatever your goal is, there will be always obstacles on your way to success. They are part of the process. Walt Disney was turned down 302 times before he got financing for his dream of creating the happiest place on earth. Colonel Sanders spent 2 years driving across the United States looking for restaurants to buy his chicken recipe. He was turned down 1009 times. J.K. Rowling was turned down by 12 publishers before her Harry Potter novels were printed, and she practically became billionaire after printing of this novel. Thomas Edison failed 10,000 times before he succeeded in making a light bulb. Jack Canfield's Chicken Soup for the Soul book was turned down by 132 publishers before it was printed, and it has sold 500 million copies till date and is still counting. It took Dashrath Manji 22 years to build a road through a hill in his village. He alone cut the hill for making the road through it. One is not finished when one is defeated, but one is finished when one quits. What President Calvin Coolidge said, nothing can take the place of persistence. Talent will not. The world is full of unsuccessful people with talent. Genius will not. Unrewarded genius is almost a proverb. Education alone will not. The world is full of educated derelicts. Persistence and determination alone are omnipotent. In 1878, Thomas Edison was not the only person experimenting with incandescent lights, but he was the single man willing to test 6,000 different filaments, including one made from the hair of one of his men for his light bulbs. It is said if Edison needed to find a needle in a haystack, he would do that also and start examining straw after straw until he found the needle in it. Now the important word in the last line is until he found the needle in it, which means it's not over until you win. If anybody has this level of persistence, he is bound to succeed in anything he does. The genius of such people is not their education or resources, but the unity of purpose, deafness to doubt and failure, and their desire to stay at it. This method may not be scientific or proper, but then it works. Like when you have to sell something, then intelligence and scientific methods are of no use. Only knocking on enough doors until you make the sale is the only way. Persist and resist are such two powerful words for anybody. I call them P and R. Persist in your efforts and resist quitting. Thomas Edison used to say, the first step is an intuition, but then difficulties arise. It also happens with us that we start doing many things, but then as the difficulties crop in, we throw in the towel. Stop looking for angels and start looking for angles. Having sown the seed and having initiated something, when we don't see results, we get impatient. We keep pulling out the sapling to check if the roots are growing. Long-term sustainable success takes time. Every major achievement is almost always preceded by years of toil, hard work, failure, stress, test of character, determination, sleepless nights, families, sacrifices for your success and your faith in your God. When all these things grow inside you, you're ready for that Chinese bamboo tree like takeoff, all of which help form the network of roots in the foundation that can then support massive real accomplishments visible to everybody and that multi-storied success. A wise man once remarked, perseverance is not a long race. It's many short races, one after the other. Think about it. In the confrontation between the stream and the rock, the stream always wins. Why? As Shakespeare put it, much rain wears down the marble. The simple truth of the matter is that consistent, persistent efforts will always triumph in the end. It took Orville Redenbacher more than 20 years and 30,000 popcorn hybrids before he was able to develop fluffier, tastier popcorn which we all love today to munch. It wasn't luck that made Redenbacher a success, and it wasn't working really hard for only a month or even a year that made the difference. It was persistent action over time that turned Redenbacher from a manager of a popcorn farm into a multimillionaire. There's a Chinese folktale that perfectly illustrates the importance of persistence. In the folktale, a holy man has a dream in which he is taken by the angels to visit heaven. As the angels escort the man through the heavenly mansion, they pass a huge room stacked from wall to ceiling with gifts. The holy man stops and stares into the room, dazzled by the variety and beauty of the millions of presents. Why are all these lovely presents stacked up in this room? The holy man asks the angels. A beautiful young angel steps forward and with a sad sigh explains, this is the room where we store the things people have been praying for, but sadly, they quit praying right before their presents were to be delivered. And lastly, we'll talk about having belief in your 3 bones to succeed. A man overheard an aged Irishman giving some advice to a boy who was boarding a ship to seek his fortune. Now, Michael, my boy, the old man said, just remember the 3 bones and you will get along all right. The curiosity of the bystander prompted him to ask the Irishman what he meant by the 3 bones. The Irishman replied with a twinkle in his eye, The three bones are wishbone, the jawbone, and the backbone. It's the wishbone that keeps you going after things. It's the jawbone that helps you ask the questions that are necessary to finding them, and it's the backbone that keeps you at it until you get them. So that's all for today. If you like this video, then like, share with others, and if you still haven't subscribed to our channel, then please do it right away. See you in our next video. Till then, namaskar. Thank you.